What is the Cats Connection News?
The Cats Connection News is Mount Olive High School's student-run newspaper. It's published by the students, ran by the students, and it's published in the Mount Olive Herald newspaper right here in Mount Olive, Illinois. It's run by the high schoolers. Did you know that?
Where does the organization originate from?
The Cats Connection originates actually from your grandma, Lisa Hannell. She started teaching here back in the 80s, I believe, and they had a small student-run newspaper, but it was just a pamphlet that they handed out in the hallways, Myles, here in the high school, right? And then the early 2000s, she decided to try to hook up with the Mount Olive Herald and the owners of the Herald, who also run the Journal out of Hillsboro and many other small local newspapers, to see if they could do a 4-page insert in the Mount Olive Herald every month from, I believe, September through April, right? And since then, we've been doing that every year. From right here in this classroom, believe it or not, where they did the layout, did the setup, and then they send it off to the Mount Olive Herald, and they print it once a month in the town paper. Pretty cool, right?
Well, so this thing started from the 80s?
This started a long time ago. In the 80s, it was just they would change what they called it every year in a journalism class. Your grandma studied journalism at Blackburn College, and then she eventually ends up teaching here at Mount Olive High School, and she teaches a journalism class, and some of that stuff's up on this board right behind us.
I was going to say, is that from it?
Yes, it is. And she said once they started publishing in the town paper, they officially became the Cats Connection News. It's been the Cats Connection News ever since.
I'm surprised. I remember eating that Polar Bear Paw cupcakes.
That's right, indeed. There is a photo of Myles on the wall behind us from the Cats Connection News years ago. Isn't that crazy?
What does the Cats Connection News mean to you?
You know, to me, it's a legacy for my mom, for your grandma. It is a chance to give the students the ability to make journalism, to do actual reporting, to pick what they want to run. Since it's a student-run journalism organization, a student-run high school paper, one of the few left in the state of Illinois, by the way. We think there's like 15 left in Illinois. Is that crazy? Since it's run by the students actually make all the decisions, Myles. So they pick what to publish, what to write on, what goes on what page. So I'm just kind of their sponsor. I just kind of help them. I help them edit. I help them make decisions. But at the end of the day, the students decide what to run. So I feel like the Cats Connection News is an organization that lets students practice doing journalism, doing news while they're still in high school. And many of our past graduates from this program have gone on to do news organization work. For instance, your grandma taught a young man who now works for ESPN. And his first time doing the news was right here in this room, writing for the Cats Connection News.
ESPN?
Right? ESPN, right?
That's crazy.
And we have several students right now who've worked for local papers, one who's even working for one now, all because they started right here. They got a taste for student journalism here in this classroom, writing for the Cats Connection News. And then they went on to college and they studied things like mass communications or journalism or English, like I did, and ended up writing for a news organization. Right? So I think it's a chance for high school students to, dip their toes in the water, to test out journalism and see if that's something they like. And for some, it really is. And for others, it's just a chance to practice, play around with different tools, whether that's writing, photography, video. We're shooting video right now. So the students in this class, they learn how to write for a newspaper, how to do layout, how to put pictures into the layout, right? But they also learn how to take those pictures. They learn how to shoot interviews, how to do interviews live like we are right now, and then how to edit that stuff and put it up on YouTube, right? So it's a lot of different things nowadays, right? But it all starts with the newspaper, and that's what this is about. Right?
I feel like you help them more with editing than you do with me.
Well, I don't know, Miles. Maybe. It certainly is a lot of work running the Cats Connection News, but it is a labor of love. That's for sure. So I should help you more, you're saying?
Yes.
Obviously.
You see this? Okay. Oh my. Okay. What kind of news does the organization talk about?
Well, the Cats Connection News is mainly about the Mount Olive High School, right? So we mainly cover the activities that are going on here, like if there's a band performance or a basketball game, an art show, if a speaker comes to talk to students here at the school. It's largely things like that. We do a lot of interviews with students about sports, about band, about their art. And then we try to interview every single senior every year. We almost never pull it off, but just see how their experiences have been, what they would tell themselves if they could speak to their freshman self, and where they're going next, right? So yeah, it's largely about the high school. Every once in a while we get out into the community. Last year we were able to interview some of the mayoral candidates, so that was kind of neat. We interviewed the fire chief. So we try to branch out, but it's mainly the high school. Every once in a while, we'll interview someone down in your neck of the woods from the elementary school.
Yeah, I've seen you like in my classroom when we did like volcanoes.
Yes, indeed. So we try to cover the whole school, but probably most of it's high school stuff, right?
Well, is the Cats Connection News a credible source?
Is it a credible source? Well, I think so. For one, we don't really write any opinion pieces for the most part, and we mainly just tell you what's going on at Mount Olive High School. So I think it's definitely a credible source. And we do talk about sourcing and credibility. We talk about following up after your interviews, making sure that the person you interviewed knows what you're going to print about them. But honestly, we're rarely doing anything very controversial. Again, we're mainly talking about there was a basketball game or there was an art show or there was a band performance. But yeah, I think we're trying to practice being a true journalistic news organization and covering less editorial work, less opinion pieces, mainly just the facts. I often tell students that the most basic news article is just this thing happened, here's where it happened, here's who was involved and when it was and where it was. And that's as simple as it is for the vast majority of our news articles. Right? So yeah, I think it is a credible source.
Where do you think the future of the organization is going?
So I'm hoping that the Cats Connection News will be around for a long, long time and that it will continue as a print newspaper that is featured in the Mount Olive Herald every month for 9 months out of the year. But I also hope that we'll continue to expand online. Since I came here and took over the program from my mom, we've expanded our online presence. We've continued to grow our YouTube channel. We now have over 130 subscribers, I think. We've increased our Facebook followers and outreach, Instagram. And I'm hoping that maybe eventually we might even have like an online website where we are publishing more material. If we aren't able to maintain funds, it is possible that we become another newspaper that's just handed out at the school or that is just online. But I really, really love the community and I love their support. I would like to continue to be able to be published in the Mount Olive Herald. But what's happened, Myles, is that times are hard for pretty much everybody, and one of our main sponsors, Glicks, who sponsored us for years, has had to pull their advertising from us. And we understand that completely. From what I understand, they pulled, well, yeah, you can see some of their ads behind us. They pulled all their advertising from all of the high schools and colleges across the country because they're having hard times, right? Now, also from talking to our Glicks rep, we were the only high school newspaper they were sponsoring. All the rest were college ones, right? So I think that's a great, great privilege. And again, we really appreciate their support over the years. We appreciate Constitution Bank for their support. Lincoln Land has ran ads with us repeatedly, and everybody else in the community who's ran ads with us before. But we're struggling to find more ads, and so we thought we'd reach out to the community and just ask if you would be willing to donate $1. Anything at all would help us. Probably $1 from everyone who sees this video would keep the Cats Connection alive for years to come. We're not asking for much, but if you enjoy the content that we put out, if you enjoy reading us in the newspaper, that would help a lot. And I'm probably jumping ahead from your last question, aren't I?
So you wanted to do this video for like a fundraiser, right?
That's correct.
So how can we support the Cats Connection News?
Well, one, you could tell people about the Cats Connection News, that you read the Mount Olive Herald, subscribe to the Mount Olive Herald. So read our articles every month. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. But of course, the truth is $1 would help. So we are currently running a little fundraiser through March, and we're asking for your support. If everybody who read the Cats Connection News donated $1, I think we would be good for probably a couple years to go. But the reality is that it costs money to print the newspaper, right? And we don't really make any money, as a student-run, newspaper, right? But if everybody who saw this donated $1, I think we would be able to continue to be an organization that is a print newspaper printed once a month in the Mount Olive Herald. Otherwise, we're asking the Herald to do charity work for us, and that eats into their bottom line. So if everybody watching this would just donate $1, you would help preserve student-run journalism in Mount Olive, at Mount Olive High School, for probably this year and next, and maybe even years to come. We hate to have to ask this, but we are certainly hurting for money, and any little bit would help. If you could share this video with somebody, that would help us. And if you could give even just $1, that would certainly help us to continue to run as a high school student-run newspaper. We appreciate all the support over the years, and we appreciate you watching this. Myles, thanks for doing this interview with me. Any final words? Do you like the Cats Connection News?
Yeah, but I guess I don't need this book of all my questions anymore.
All right. Well, why don't we sign off? Thank you all for watching. Thanks for supporting the Cats Connection News.
Yes, thank you.